Huge shout out to Fenris and Nemo on Twitter for using code NOT on G Fuel's website. We donate all proceeds made with my code to St. Jude, and it actually provides a 30% discount right now. If you're interested, check the link in the description. Thank you. The Moon and Dreaming City weapons have their God Rolls back. For those that don't know, these two weapon sets have definitely had a lot of controversy concerning them. From only a few guns being re-released half-assed during sunsetting in Season 13, to getting the rest of the weapon set back during Season 14, but at the cost of the original perks which actually made them worth using. It goes without saying that these weapons have definitely had quite the journey up until this point. Now here we are in Season 15 with what I can imagine is the final update to these weapons, as they've finally been updated with the perks that made them so damn good in the first place. So in today's video, we're going to be taking a look at these weapons again, going over their newly added perk pools and figuring out if these weapons are finally worth farming now. If you guys would like to know how to get your hands on these weapons, I made videos on the Moon and Dreaming City, and I'll leave those linked below. Before we jump into it though, hit the like button if you enjoyed the video, and hit the subscribe button if you loved it and would like to see more content from me. We've been growing like crazy as of late, and it's been awesome meeting a bunch of new people in the comments recently, so I really gotta thank you guys for that. With all that being said though, let's jump into it. Now, the first weapon of the day that I want to talk about is the one that I'm most excited to see gain its old perks, and that's the Arc Logic Auto Rifle. When the Moon weapons were first announced to be returning, this was my #1 pick in terms of which I wanted from the weapon set. Of course, all its good perks were taken away on its arrival, and that killed any hype that I had to actually get this thing. However, ever since Season of the Lost, Arc Logic now has regained 4 total perks, those being Overflow and Subsistence in the first column, and Demolitionist and Rampage in the second. Now Arc Logic is a 600 RPM auto rifle, making it an absolute beauty to shoot, and with perks like Subsistence and Overflow making their return, they incentivize me to not take my finger off the trigger, and that makes me happy. Also, Rampage being back is a pretty massive deal, as the weapon had no good damage perks for PvP, causing it to not even be able to compete with weapons like Gnawing Hunger. Demo being back as well is great for my ability homies, so I'm taking a look at the rolls. For PvE, we have Overflow, Subsistence, or Feeding Frenzy in the first column, along with Demo, Rampage, or Frenzy in the second. For Grandmaster Nightfalls this season, we have Anti-Barrier Auto, so make sure to chase something like Overflow or Surplus alongside Frenzy specifically, so you can benefit from passive buffs the whole way through when farming GMs. Now for some PvP perks, in the first column we have Overflow, Heating Up, Killing Win, and Surplus, and thankfully Rampage now in the second to help you chain kills back to back during engagements. All in all, Bungie's breathed some new life into this weapon with the update this season, and I'm happy that we finally have Arc Logic back in full force. Moving on from Arc Logic, we have ourselves what was previously a pretty hyped SMG, the Every Waking Moment. Now this was really exciting to get back into the game due to it being the only Void SMG in Destiny, outside of Shayura's Wrath, which requires Trials of Osiris to even obtain. So whenever it comes to Every Waking Moment, we have 2 perks that have returned, and those perks are Subsistence in the first column and Kill Clip in the second. Now, Every Waking Moment was already pretty decent on its own for PvE. For example, we had roles like Ambitious Assassin, Multi-Kill Clip, but with the recent buffs to Subsistence, the new god roll might be to rock that instead of Ambitious to further help rack up kills to ensure Multi-Kill Clip reaches all 3 stacks. Now, when it comes to PvP, you're putting yourself at a massive disadvantage here when using Every Waking Moment compared to Shayura's, as they're both 600 RPM SMGs, and Shayura excels in every single stat comparatively. With Every Waking Moment's extremely low zoom value as well, I'm not going to recommend any PvP rolls, just to save you guys from farming a pretty bad weapon overall, at least for that mode specifically. Now moving on from a pretty weak PvP weapon, let's talk about one that got its mojo back with the new season, the Twilight Oath. What was previously a beloved PvP sniper became a hollow shell upon its reissue, but that's no longer. This season, Bungie brought back the perks Opening Shot and Kill Clip, with your main focus of course being Opening Shot. Twilight Oath never had a strong PvE presence, so I won't recommend any rolls as they're just not worth it. So taking a look at PvP, we have the infamous Opening Shot Snapshot Sights combo, or even Vorpal if that's your thing. All in all, this gun mainly applies to PvP mains, but it's always been a fan favorite of that side of the community, so I know they'll be happy to know that it's got its god rolls back. Now moving on from Twilight Oath, we have ourselves what used to be the PvP talk of the town, the Loud Lullaby. When this thing first dropped, everyone was going crazy due to its 2-tap potential when utilizing a role like Surplus Kill Clip, but its PvE potential was pretty down in the dumps overall, so has that exactly changed? Well, Bungie brought Subsistence in the first column alongside Explosive Payload in the second for the Loud Lullaby, so let's talk about it. Is it worth using in PvE? Well, not really. Although Explosive Payload is an S tier perk and definitely helps the usability of the weapon, I can't see myself ever using a Loud Lullaby over something like Fatebringer, for instance. Even when comparing it to other 120s, Loud Lullaby has some of the worst reload and stability I've ever seen, and the stability especially is unbearable even for a PC player like myself when using this thing in PvE. Overall, it's cool that Loud Lullaby got these new perks, but I wouldn't recommend farming this weapon at all. It's just outclassed by other kinetics and other 120s, while also having just horrid stats. Unless you want this weapon for a kill clip role in PvP, I'd personally stay away. Moving on from Loud Lullaby, we have ourselves a weapon that has a place in the PvE sandbox now, the One Small Step. This weapon's only usability before it got sunset was it being a great 1-2 punch shotgun, and with its initial reissue, Bungie took that perk away, making the shotgun completely useless. This season, however, Bungie has seen the error of their ways, and have given One Small Step both auto-loading holster in the first column, as well as 1-2 punch in the second. When it comes to non-slug shotguns in PvE, they pretty much have to have 1-2 punch to even be considered useful, so I'm glad that Bungie made this change. As far as the God Roll goes, the new perks are pretty much exactly what you want, unless you'd rather Surplus or Lead from Gold alongside 1-2 punch. 1-2 punch overall is a must on this thing, so if it fits your playstyle, go out there and get it. Now, moving on from One Small Step, we have ourselves the Tranquility Sniper Rifle that now has much more usability in both PvE and PvP with the recent perk additions. This season, Bungie brought back the perks No Distractions and Auto-Loading in the first column, as well as Firing Line and Snapshot in the second. This is pretty great for both modes, as for PvE we have roles like Auto-Loading Firing Line or Surplus Firing Line. Unfortunately though, Tranquility doesn't come with any sustained DPS perks like Triple Tap or Fourth Times, so you'd probably get more use from this weapon against champions alongside teammates and GMs. I just don't see this thing being that good for boss DPS. As far as PvP God Rolls go, we now have No Distraction Snapshot or Surplus Snapshot, which I know for a fact will make a lot of the original fans of the sniper pretty damn happy. Not really much to say here. Bungie, just like One Small Step, basically put this weapon back in the spot it was originally at, and that's a sniper that's good for both main modes of Destiny. Now moving on to the last major weapon of the video, we have ourselves the Love and Death Grenade Launcher, and with Season 15, it's finally found itself back to its original form as being one of the few heavy GLs that rolls with full court. Alongside this, Bungie also re-added Field Prep in the first column. Your new God Roll for this weapon is going to go from a mediocre Warmind Cell GL by using Clown and Chain, to a decent boss damaging option by rocking Field Prep Full Court, Clown Full Court, or Auto-Loading Full Court. For me personally though, I don't really see myself getting much use out of this thing, as Full Court is a 25% damage bonus at max, and currently, we don't really have any activities that require a heavy GL. However, I'm definitely going to be picking one of these rolls up just in case Bungie decides to do something drastic to the weapon type like they did with heavy machine guns. And ever since then, I'm actually glad that I held on to some of my machine guns with Vorpal, for example. Regardless though, definitely farm this weapon for future sandbox changes, and you might find yourself with an absolute gem later on in Destiny's life cycle. For the end of the video here, I just want to talk about the last few weapons in one big group, as I don't really consider them as important as everything else we discussed today, but I still want to talk about them. So for the final few weapons, we have the Dreambreaker Fusion Rifle, which now has high impact reserves and firmly planted rolling on it, the Tiger Spite, which now rolls Outlaw and Kill Clip, by the way, only featuring this weapon here as its base rolls were already pretty cracked as is, the Night Terror Sword, which now has Whirlwind Blade, as well as Abide the Return, which now rolls with Whirlwind Blade also. With all that being said, those are all the Moon and Dreaming City weapon perks that have returned, as well as a brief overview of the weapons now that they've gotten their perks back. So guys, that's gonna do it for today's video. I haven't seen any content creator talking about this kind of stuff as of yet, so I figured I'd throw a bit of a PSA video up on the channel and let you guys know. Anyways, as always, thank you all so much for watching all the way into the end of the video, so let's go ahead and get into the comment of the day. Today's comment of the day goes to Spider Dancing, who said, Pear? 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 This is getting very complicated. I wanted to make this comment of the day after seeing so many of y'all use the wrong variation of pear in the comment section of one of my last videos, even after I put the word on screen to avoid confusion. Seriously, get your eyes checked. Anyways, the word of the day for today's video is going to be nut. I don't know why I haven't done nut yet. I'm pretty sure I did peanut recently, but not just nut. So yeah, nut is, you know, peanuts, they're kind of my branding and everything, plus the whole G Fuel code being nut. So let's finally make it a word of the day. Leave a comment down below that's talking about literally anything, as long as that has the word nut in it, and you'll have a chance for next video's comment of the day. But guys, thank you all so much for watching. I really do appreciate it. That's gonna do it for me in today's video. If you are still watching for some god-awful reason, here's a secret message to you. Let me know what my next video should be. I got plenty of ideas in the tank, but I'm always down to take any ideas from you guys, as this video was actually inspired by this person right here. So the more ideas you guys give me, the more videos you'll get in return. So let me know in the comments if you're still listening and got a few ideas for the channel. But guys, that's about it for me. Thank you so much for watching, and I'll see you all next time.